Hello music fans, it's Brennan from Death by Unicorn channel here, and I'm doing a different type of video today. I wanted to talk about some YouTube channels for music related content, some that I would recommend. I got this idea from Aaron Major over on Square the Circle music channel, which will be one of the channels that I mentioned in my video today. And there's so many great YouTube channels dedicated to music. There's so many that I've watched that I'll probably forget some today, so if I forgot you, I'm sorry. And I could probably do multiple videos on this topic, so I decided today to just focus on YouTube channels that I use for discovering progressive music, progressive rock and progressive metal music. I might make another video for just discovering metal music in general, because there's other channels that I use for that, or discovering rock music, like not specifically progressive rock, but all types of rock, or some other types of channels that I like are like music theory channels, tutorials, lessons for like learning parts on guitar, learning chords, learning theory, learning modes, or music and lyric breakdowns and things like that. I'm not including that stuff on this list. I'm not including like reaction channels. I watch some of those sometimes, where people react to certain songs, or like I'm not including music meme channels, although I do watch some of those sometimes. So this is specifically people who talk about progressive rock and metal music, and ones that do things like ranking albums in progressive rock bands' discographies. Those are some types of videos that I like to watch. Or just new album reviews, if you want to find new stuff to check out. Or best of lists, things like that. And that's enough of a preamble. I'm going to kick it off and do a top 10 YouTube channels that I use for progressive rock discovery. Starting with, they're not really in any order here, but so I guess I'll do them in like order of how big their following is, and I'll start with kind of the smaller channels and work my way up to the big ones. So I'm going to start off with someone named Gordon Blodgett. And starting off, these are just like triple digit numbers of subscribers right now. So they're still bigger channels than my own. And these are kind of people that I look to as inspiration for the type of content that I want to make. Gordon Blodgett calls his show Thick Slices and Deep Cuts. I think because he eats pizza, and sometimes he's joined by his daughter while he does that. And so that's the thick slices part of the name. And then they talk about music, so that's the deep cuts part. And it looks like he's been doing it for about 3 years. He recently ranked Symphony X discography, so I recommend checking that out if you like Symphony X. He's also got ranking videos for other bands that I like Pain of Salvation, Jethro Tull, Emerson, Lake and Palmer, Gentle Giant, which I've also done on my own channel, as well as Porcupine Tree, which I've done on my channel, Fate's Warning, King Crimson, Rush, Mastodon, Haken, and Pink Floyd, which Pink Floyd's probably the next one I have coming on my channel as well. So that's one of them. The next one I'll talk about is called Bicycle Legs, and I'll try to remember to put all the links to the channels in the description here so you know how to spell them and everything and find them. Bicycle Legs, also kind of triple digit subscribers right now at this time of recording, and hopefully these channels will grow and get more people watching them. Bicycle Legs is ranked Genesis, King Crimson, Pink Floyd, Emerson, Lake and Palmer, all in the past 1 year. And next one I'll talk about is Square the Circle. Aaron Major, who I got this idea from after watching his, and he was kind enough to mention my channel in his video, so thanks for that. And I decided to do this video after watching that. Very flattered and honored to be mentioned in his. And he's not exclusively prog, but I'm just putting him in this category of prog music discovery, even though he talks about other genres from metal to punk to psychedelic rock and beyond. He's a bit more on the vinyl community side than the typical ranking stuff that I do. I show off a bit of my vinyl, but my collection is nowhere near as comprehensive and cool as his. And to be honest, like in order to review as much music as I mentioned on my channel, I rely a lot more on streaming like Spotify, Bandcamp, YouTube, SoundCloud. I can only really buy like my top four vinyl or so each year. Sometimes I buy CDs too, just to kind of keep costs reasonable and like not take up too much space. Um, Maybe one day I'll do some episodes where I show off my collection. But anyway, that tangent's over now. If you like vinyl community videos, Square the Circle does a series called Tales from the Thrift where he shows off new vinyl that he bought. But my favorite stuff on his channel is his album ranking videos, his top 10 videos. He also does a series called Major's Unpopular Opinion where he talks about unpopular opinions. He's ranked Radiohead and Yes. I've also done Yes on my channel. I don't think he's even been going a full 2 years yet, but he's already made a lot of great videos and built a cool community there, so check that out. Next, I'll talk about DK Media Music, also in the triple-digit number of subscribers right now. And here's another guy. He's not purely a prog channel, but I'm putting him in this category because most of what he talks about that I like most is in the prog world. Even when he doesn't talk about prog, though, he does talk about a lot of other bands that I like. I think we have very similar taste in music. He does discography ranking videos. On the prog side, he's ranked bands like Emerson, Lake and Palmer, Jethro Tull, Devin Townsend, Mastodon, Dream Theater, Between the Buried and Me, King Crimson, Genesis, Pink Floyd, Steven Wilson, Porcupine Tree, Rush, and Haken. So he's done a lot of those videos. On the metal side, he even ranks some bands that I like too, like Megadeth, Black Sabbath, Ghost, System of a Down, Iron Maiden, and even just some more standard rock bands like the Beatles, Foo Fighters, and Primus, although they're not really a standard rock band, but he does rank them. And he's done all these in the past few years, so he's been keeping busy. Looks like he also plays drums too, so that's cool. He's done a drum cover on his channel, so even more respect for that. I also try to do the odd cover on my channel as well as original songs, so on top of my album rankings and first impressions type videos. And next I'll talk about the Prog Corner. Shout out to the Prog Corner. His name is Scott, I believe, and he focuses heavily on prog, of course, from the name The Prog Corner. And he's one of the most knowledgeable YouTubers on the prog genre. He's listened to so many different albums and artists, so I can always find a band that's new to me to check out. And very often I'll enjoy them a lot. He also reviews and talks about new albums as they're coming out, like I do. But I also love his list-based videos like top prog singers, top prog solo artists, top prog bands, top prog bass players, best prog riffs, best prog albums of each year, prog guitar players, prog epics. He makes a lot of good lists like that. He does album ranking videos too. Has videos on Rush, Led Zeppelin, Genesis, Radiohead, Emerson, Lake and Palmer, Gentle Giant, King Crimson. And he's done all this in about 10 months even, which is really impressive. He's keeping busy with his channel and makes way more content than I ever could, and he keeps it fun and interesting. Next, I'll talk about Nathan on Shuffle. For the Prog Corner Nathan on Shuffle, we're getting into some bigger channels now that are in kind of 4-digit number of subscribers, so much bigger than my own. For Nathan on Shuffle, he has his wife Jana come on and do first time listens and reactions to prog songs, so that's pretty cool. He's started doing weekly top 5 videos. He does a new music weekly, which is a good place to discover new albums, singles, tours, other prog news. He's also part of the vinyl community, shows off some of his vinyl hauls, does concert reviews, album ranking videos. He's done them for Porcupine Tree, Yes. I've done those too as well, but he's done the Mars Volta and even more. And he's done all this in about a year and a half, so kudos to Nathan for that. And next I'll talk about Andy Edwards, who's he was the drummer of Frost and of IQ, and was also the drummer in Robert Plant's Priory of Brian. I don't know how to say that, but I just looked up his Wikipedia page, and now he's a music YouTuber, and he mostly does list-based videos like best guitarist, keyboardist, bass players, drummers, greatest prog bands. He talks a lot about jazz fusion that I'm not that familiar with, but I want to learn some more about that. He does some album ranking videos like The Police and Yes. I think with Yes, he only talked about their 10 best albums rather than all of them, though. He's done Rush. He talks a lot more about music history and origins of certain styles. And I think he only started doing this music ranking and analysis stuff over the past few years. But before that, he had his channel still and did some drum lessons there. So check that out if that sounds of interest to you. Got 3 more on this list of 10 here. Next one, we're moving into the 5-digit number of subscribers. So people who have more than 10,000 right now as of today, and they may grow more. The next one I'm going to mention is Neve the Prog Nerd, and it's always great to see women talking about progressive music, as it's usually more of a male-oriented genre. So hopefully we can see more women getting into prog in the future because of Neve and her channel. She hasn't posted a video in a few months, as I think she's off at university or something that she said in the video. But she's a bit more on the vinyl community side of things, makes more videos in that flavor rather than album reviews and rankings. So quite a bit different from my channel, but she still does some of those too. But it's more like unboxing and showing off her collection as well as her dad's. But there have been some great list-based videos too, like favorite bass players, top drummers, favorite 3-piece bands, favorite solo albums, favorite albums of each year, favorite prog epics. And she used to do a video series called Saturdays with Dad, where she brought her dad on, and he's also really knowledgeable about progressive music. And then they've done some discography rankings on that channel, like Tool and ELP. So check it out. And final 2 that I'm going to mention, Notes Reviews. Also in the 5-digit number of subscribers right now, and lately he's been reviewing some of the greatest prog rock album of all time lists according to various sources like Rate Your Music, Rolling Stones, the Prog Archives, etc. But he also does new album reviews like I do, and his reviews go way more in depth than mine, though. I usually do really quick first impressions and almost just list off what I listened to this week and give a few hot takes. But he goes track by track, and he also reviews classic prog albums and does list videos like 15 non-prog albums for prog fans, tier lists for bands like Porcupine Tree, worst to best album rankings for My Chemical Romance, Gentle Giant, Genesis. He even does some how to get into videos that help people get into bands they don't know yet. Like he does those for Devin Townsend, Tool, Haken. Also some more vinyl community type videos like mystery box unboxings. And of course year-end lists. So we have very similar tastes in music, so I especially like this channel. And this channel has been going on the longest, I think, out of all the ones I've mentioned so far. Almost 8 to 9 years of content, so there's plenty of stuff here to keep watching if you like this channel. And lastly, I'll talk about the big one, the Sea of Tranquility, that is, maybe one day we'll approach hitting 100,000 subscribers. Not yet there, but hopefully they get there. And this is Pete Pardo. He's kind of the legend of this type of content. He makes so much content on this channel. He has so many great guests on it too. Not just the great guests that he brings on his weekly recurring shows, they're all really great, but he also has enough of a following that he can do some really cool interviews and interview a lot of the great artists directly. And he talks about hard rock and heavy metal on his Hudson Valley Square show, but he also has a prog show called In the Prog Seat. That would be one of my favorite ones. He talks about horror movies on his show called The Monster Den. I'm not as big into horror movies. It's unlikely that you're going to like all the videos on this channel, unless you're into all those things I mentioned, in which case you found your guy. I like horror movies, but not enough to watch all those shows. But I really like his music content. He does new reviews as well on new releases when they come out. He does album ranking videos for so many bands and year-end lists. This channel's been going on for about 8 years, so also quite a long time. But even before that, he was making music content via a webzine. So he's been making this kind of content for a long time. And that's it for my 10 favorite YouTube channels to discover progressive rock and metal music. If people like this and watch this, let me know. And if people are interested in a metal version of this, I can make a similar list of 10 channels to discover metal music or rock music. If anybody's interested in things like music theory, I could make like a best music theory channel video list, or maybe some music memes or reaction channels, although there's a lot of those and those get pretty big already, so they probably don't need my help. But that's it for today. I'll be back to reviewing new music as it comes out and ranking classic bands' discographies in the next video. Until then, peace out.